Welcome back to Open Line. We are talking with Tim Takacs. We're talking about wills, estate planning, benefits, how to care for someone as they get older, planning all of that out. And as we went to break, and I'll take a call here in a moment, so hold on the line. If you want to call, there's a number 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. We were talking about, all right, say there's a parent and she proactively wants to prevent a problem among her children.
Right.
She worries they will fight or squabble over, say she has a stroke and is incapacitated, like our last caller had a situation.
Right.
What can she do proactively?
Conversation. I mean, and that's sometimes the hardest thing that parents can do, you know, is to have a conversation with their children about, you know, and surprisingly, there are children that don't want to have that conversation. You know, to kind of give you an example, I've had, I've had older people that have come into me and maybe they brought a son or a daughter with them, you know, and maybe there's an out-of-town sibling or whatever, a daughter or son or whatever it is, and they talk, you know, and that's primarily what they are interested in, is because they know that their children are maybe not necessarily get along, because you got the big shot over here who's like, you know, he's a big shot lawyer for some big bank and wherever it is, and then you've got daughter over here who's like expected to be, you know, taking care of mom because that's like a woman's work or whatever. You know, you get some of those attitudes like that. You know, and so a lot of our, you know, so sometimes the older person comes in and says, you know, I don't like that, you know, and so they want to have some sort of plan in place where, you know, everybody knows what, you know, what the responsibilities are, you know, what mom wants as far as where she wants to live. You know, if she gets older and she can't live at home anymore, you know, how does she wants to have her money applied, used for her care? You know, does she want to do any gifting or something like that, or what kind of estate planning does she want? Does she want things set aside in trust? You know, and what that really what that is that that's the older person taking charge. Mm-hmm. You know, the old person is like, okay, be a parent. You know, grow up and be an adult, you know, and recognizing that you're an older person now, and part of that means that you have to plan for, you know, that something bad may happen to you. You know, so now, you know, like, so grow up and, you know, old, you know, it's not something that you can just hope that maybe something bad isn't going to happen.
And all these things will just take care of themselves.
And that they're going to take care of themselves, and then the result is that you have one child over here that goes, well, mommy wants this, other child over here goes, no, 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 she wants that, you know, and then you wind up things going bad.
So you want to communicate clearly what you want.
What it is, what you want.
And when you have a group come in, you make it clear you're representing the parent.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's surprising. I mean, not maybe surprising, but it might surprise some, you know, some of our, you know, viewers that, you know, people walk into our office and you know, maybe, you know, and I often don't ever see my client. Now, usually one of our elder care coordinators, you know, will visit the client, but often the client is not physically able to get into the office, you know, to participate, you know, but we always represent the older person, you know, and we emphasize that our duty of loyalty and the person for whom we're planning is the older person. You know, we're not taking sides with Ben, we're not taking sides with, you know, Jody over here, you know, where it's like, no, you know, and I think a lot of children, you know, the siblings take comfort in that. Mm-hmm. You know, they know that, okay, if you've got some out-of-town sibling, you know, or, you know, that's out there that's going, well, you know, I don't know what you're doing, you know, and they said, well, you know, mom hired this lawyer, and then they go, yeah, right, you know, and then they check me out, and then they go, oh, okay, you know, this is someone that does this. This is what we do for a living. Mm-hmm. You know, we're just not drafting documents. You know, we're actually doing planning for people, you know, and guiding them through the process of, you know, of aging and getting older and getting the care that they need. You know, and I think that has a lot of comfort for people.
Let's go back to the phones. Linda, hello.
Hello.
Hi. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'm a 71-year-old widow. Husband died, and I have a large tract of land. And I have a son and a daughter, which there's no problem with them. They both want to keep it. The only thing, I'm wondering if I were to get the nursing home, I don't have any long-term care. Mm-hmm. The best way to handle this as far as a deed, a trust, or exactly what would be the best option for me to go for them to keep the farm.
Okay. I mean, and that's sort of like right in the kind of things that sometimes we'll often plan for. You know, Linda says she's 71 years old. You know, she doesn't have nursing home long-term care insurance, and so then, you know, and she says, sounds like she wants to keep the farm in the family.
Right.
Okay, but the first thing that we would want to have a conversation with Linda about is that, what if you needed? Do you have other assets that you need to use or could use to take care of yourself? You know, or is all of your wealth tied up in the farm? You know, so. You know, that's kind of like goes back to some of the things that we were talking about just not too long ago, where I was saying is that, okay, how much, you know, the person the one who had a 10% heart, you know, what other assets does he have? Does he have enough assets to take care of himself? What's his longevity? You know, what other options? You know, so first of all, her estate plan is let's keep the property in the family, or the farm.
Right. That's very important.
That's very important, and we want to try to meet that objective if we can. Yeah, and that's Linda's objective. Now, so the question then would become for Linda is to talk to her children and say, what's more important? We keep the property in the family, or that she be taken care of? Would they sell the farm or portions of the farm or borrow against the farm to make sure that mom is taken care of? So what's important? You know, is the land more important than making sure that mom is taken care of? You know, and those are conversations that we were talking just a moment ago about how can you avoid squabbling. You know, maybe one son says, no, I want the farm. I don't, you know, we'll throw mama out in the street. You know, the daughter goes, no, that's not going to happen. You know, I'll move in. We're not going to have any, you know, all that sort of stuff. You know, so those are the conversations that Linda might want to start having with her family. And say, what should we do with the farm if we have, you know, if we have to sell it? Would we ever have to sell it? You know, under what circumstances?
Yeah, under what circumstance would she have to sell it? She goes into a nursing home, and she has some money, but maybe burns through that.
Right.
A house, I believe, is protected under some circumstances. But what about a farm?
Right. Yeah, and the farm is. I mean, a farm is a homestead. It can be, it's part of the homestead, so that's protected too. You know, but if they've got the house over here, and I know people can't see me drawing on this, you know, but if the house is over here and the farm is a mile down the street, you know, the farm is not protected. It's not part of the homestead. You know, and every once in a while we get situations like that. We say, okay, well, wait a minute. You own a house and a farm and they're not connected? No, but then we say, well, the farm is counted as a resource, you know, for Medicaid eligibility purposes. You know, so under Linda's circumstances, okay, let's say she comes in and says, all right, here's what I want to do. You know, and we would start having those what-if conversations. All right, well, first of all, tell me about the farm. What is it worth? What other money or property that you have that you can use to take care of yourself? You know, would you or could you, you know, sell or lease or borrow against the farm if necessary, you know, to pay for your care? You know, should you have a conversation with your children about that? You know, if those conversations don't take place, you know, would their children have a disagreement about whether the farm should be used? You know, and maybe they would or maybe they wouldn't, but you know, if Linda makes that clear as to what she wants, what her objectives are, you know, then those, you know, we can start looking at doing some planning. And maybe we would transfer the house or the farm to a trust. Maybe we do some other things like that. But those are the issues. Those are the issues, and those are the decisions that we would, you know, talk to Linda about.
Let's go to Tony. Hello, Tony.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for taking the call.
You're welcome.
I've talked to Mr. Takacs before, but this is the dilemma. It's giving me a headache, and it's more like a special friend of mine, female friend of mine. I've been dating for years, several years, and her mother's in bad shape in the hospital, and they want to put her in hospice care. Mm-hmm. But the problem is, all of these children of hers, they work for who? There's only two of them doing all the work out of seven.
Right.
The guys ain't doing nothing, and the two youngest, boy and girl, they're in their 40s, and they're almost 50. They flim-flammed the woman out of $50,000 that she had from her other deceased son several years ago.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to do nothing. I mean, and religion is playing a big part too. Church of Christ, Baptist, Methodist, Catholic. They got all these power plays going on.
Right.
And that just makes me want to scream when I go in there, because my parents are deceased. But, we all work together, my brothers and sisters, to try to resolve the issues.
Right.
But
what do you think could be done?
One is scared, the other one is going to scratch harder than the other one. So I don't understand. She don't have no will, I don't think, and I just think they just burn out, because one of them kept her at home, and they won't even come to the sister's home to visit their own mama, All
right, well, let's talk about all that. A lot there.
Yeah,
what do you think about all that?
Well, he says this, she's her friend, his friend's mother is in is in a hospice, or potentially moving to hospice care. So the question is, okay, is she going to pass away at any time? In which case then, they're looking at, okay, now there's no will perhaps, so whatever money or property they have is going to be divided among the children equally, presumably.
If there's no will, wouldn't it be absolutely?
It should be equally.
Yeah, it should be.
Unless, like, let's say somebody's put their name on Mama's bank account,
okay.
And then that account goes to the person whose name is on that account, and then they wind up getting into lawsuits because, well, how did you get all the money?
Right.
Well, Mama's told me that she wanted to have somebody to pay her bills, so she asked me, so she put me on the bank account, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's one issue that they may be confronting, is if she's going to expire, say, fairly soon, then they're looking at dividing up the estate. But if she's going to be with us for a while, then the question is going to be is, can she make decisions for herself? If she's not able to do that, then who's making the decisions for her, and are those decisions being made in her best interest? And if it kind of gets too egregious, and there's no powers of attorney in place, or maybe whoever the power of attorney is maybe not acting in her best interest, they may wind up in court. Somebody may wind up in court and ask that a conservator be appointed for her. And so then the judge would appoint somebody, so then that person then becomes in charge.
Under the law, and you probably hear this, several children, 2 are doing most of the heavy lifting, according to the caller, and others are not.
Right.
But under the law, that
means nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Now, maybe, it's unlikely, but maybe mom has been paying one of these children or more of these children to take care of them or whatever, and that's fine too. And often we encourage that, so that that we say caregiving is a job and it should be compensated. If resources are available.
All right, we have to take a break. Bob, if you're on the line, I know you are. Hold on. We will get to your call right after this. We'll take a break. Others who want to call, there's the number, 615-737-PLUS, 615-737-7587. Take a break. Be back right after this.